G'day and welcome back to Torment Tides of Ranmenera. Last time round, well, we did the Ascension, didn't we? Well, kinda. There's a little bit left. I find it slightly suspicious that these people have moved from their camp down to by the portal. Oh, and they've also blocked off the portal with some kind of shield. I wonder if we can talk with this thing and find out more about them. Now they've done that. Worth a shot. Greetings, patterned one. It's good to see you again. Nope, nothing. Farewell, patterned one. Alright, well, that's kind of annoying. Oh, can I go up? I should have done that before.
Of course.
Well, that's a cube. Definitely going to look at that after I take these things. Patience everlasting. Polished pearlescent surface of this crystal shimmers, a faint glow illuminating it from within. When touched by another object, a seemingly random color blooms from the point of contact, with the potential for it to overtake all of the crystal's hue. Pressing another object before the change is complete summons another color, and when the two meet they blend into a third. The crystal will eventually turn black, resisting all further change until reset to an opaque shade of ivory. I'll take that, why not? It'll sell for stuff later, but it's also interesting. Must have been pretty cool trying to come up with the various oddities for this game. Warmth radiates from this device, providing relief from the frigid air. It could be the equivalent of a campfire, or it could have some other, long-forgotten purpose. Or both. Alright, let's see what this is. Even as it floats weightlessly in the air, the megalith bespeaks adamantine heft. Perhaps because of its contrast with the surrounding crystals. The stone bleeds need, even hunger, and telepathic whisper rasps the thought, product in your mind. Try to read its mind. Let's study it first. Although from a distance it seems to be a single stone, up close you can see it's covered in many small scales, each inscribed with a different pattern, whirls and loops and arches as distinct as those of living fingerprints. Whether it's a mechanical construct, a living being, or something else is entirely unclear. Try to read its mind to see what it wants. You don't hear any thoughts from the megalith beyond what it projects to you. If there is a mind here to read, it is impenetrable. What do you want? Product. I only. No other. Give. I only. Return happy bubbles. What product? Tell me what you want. The only return is product, grating in your mind. Pull off a scale. Eridus. Yeah, that's right. You're good at breaking things. Digging your fingers deep under the scale, you rip and tug with all your strength. At last, the scale snaps off, revealing a tube-like fistula leading into the megalith's interior. As a small object rolls out of the tube, your mind explodes with the megalith's outrage. No, bad hatchling, no bubbles. Then its thoughts fall silent. So yeah, we broke that, but hey, we got a fairly valuable oddity. The floating megalith you encounter in the Ascension spat out this random collection of crystals. They appear similar in nature to the Ascension crystals. While they have no apparent function, you should be able to sell them for shins. Other scales press more tightly against the megalith, and a thin, oily coating seeps over them. No more prying will be possible.
I'm going.
And yep, it doesn't want to talk to us anymore.
I'll handle it. I'm going.
Because we took bits from it. That's not unreasonable, in my opinion.
Like a whisper.
Okay. Doran bars your path with a slight confident smile. Greetings again, Cast-Off. Whatever you did in that cave has caught the Changing God's attention. He knows you're here now, and he has asked me to destroy your mind. His smile broadens. Do not resist. Suddenly, his pupils slide out of view, not up, but sideways, as abruptly as if they're slapped. Yes, he says in the same casual tone. Of course it won't be long now. His pupils return from the opposite side. Don't waste your time speaking to her. Take her mind. What just happened to your eyes? What? Oh, of course. Apologies. I didn't mean it to alarm you. He seems to mean this. Your father speaks to me, he says, pointing at a tiny device at the base of his skull, too small to have noticed before. He's told me he has need of your body, and I've learned over the years to trust what he says. A hint of sorrow touches his eyes. It's time to return your father's property, Cast-Off. The changing god is trapped in my mind. How can he be speaking to you? He looks confused for a moment. In your mind? I don't... Did you think I'd let myself be rendered helpless? I'm never without power. He raises a hand to his head. Ah, it seems he is in your mind, but maybe you've forgotten who we're talking about here. The changing god's been alive for centuries, maybe more. He'd never let himself be trapped and rendered helpless. He is never powerless. I am proof of this. Doran is but one of my tools. You are never beyond my reach. Cast off. When did he start talking to you? Years ago, ever since his device attached itself to me while I was exploring one of his abandoned laboratories. He has asked me to tell you that the erasure of your mind will not hurt. He'll simply nudge your mind into oblivion and take its place. He'll be among us at last, thanks to you. It won't hurt, cast off. It's only nudging your mind into oblivion, so I might have my body. And how would this erasure proceed? Simple. Just bow your head, and your father's mouthpiece will leave me temporarily to bond with you. You'll close your eyes, and it will be done. It must be exhausting. It must be impossible to know your every breath is borrowed. Your discoveries do not ultimately belong to you, and the only marks on the world you leave will be the ones he does not wipe away. Thankfully, we're here to take that burden from you. It's time to sleep, cast off. It's time to surrender. Let's just go along with it for the moment. If we die, we'll reload. I'm tempted by your offer. My life has not been an easy one. I understand, he says, nodding slowly, brow canted in sorrow. And that's why we're here, to take your pain from you. What? No, we can't surrender. That's no ending for a story like ours, unless surrounded, protecting orphans, orphan baby animals, and then we're all executed. Doran watches him with polite interest for a few more seconds before turning back to you as if nothing has happened. Alright. I'll give you one chance to run. Be smart. Eridus. Nope. Calisage? No. Wow. And Matkina? Also, wow. She's... Oh. Okay, right. She's got a penalty to it as well. So we are not very good at this either, but we're trained in intimidation. Eridus has a... Oh, he doesn't have a better base chance. It's just got more effort. But we can spend a bunch of our effort to be very intimidating. 6 levels of effort is plus 18 on it. His complacency drains in the face of your threat. His eyes pop open wide. His hands fly instinctively to his ears, as though someone was shouting him, I'm sorry, this is a mistake. I'm not strong enough. I don't want to... Fool, you are less than worthless. I will find another way to retrieve my body. There's a high-pitched keening. Doran clutches at the device at the back of his skull as if it were hurting him. He groans, swaying. With a soggy crump, his head bursts. With a single horrified glance at their fallen prophet, his followers flee. Wow. Well, that gives us some items. Interesting. This 3-leafed plant is black as pitch and hard as stone when held. When pressed against an article of clothing, the stem extends and insinuates itself into the fabric. When the leaves are brushed, the wearer sees a vision of a young auburn-haired girl embracing a dark-haired boy before turning away, followed by a wave of invisible, intense longing from the boy before fading. Whatever. Okay. This deep black metal gauntlet twinkles like the stars in the night sky. If you listen closely, a hum can be heard emanating from the glove. And the slug spitter is it's a gun. Quite a damaging gun, actually. We'll take all of those things. But we could use the the gauntlet of murder. So let's try and use it. This deep black metal gauntlet twinkles like the stars in the night sky. A hum emanates from its surface. When you touch the metal, images flash through your mind too quickly for you to make sense of them. Examine the gauntlet. Its metal is made not from iron or steel, but something more fantastic than the metals of the Ninth World. Otherwise, it seems to be a normal gauntlet. You notice a crust of dried blood around the inside. You recall a story linked to a gauntlet was involved in a string of mysterious murders. Each victim was seen sporting a single black gauntlet for a while, and then later found dead, strangled, missing a hand. A group called the God Club or something along the lines was mixed up with it. Anyone who wears the gauntlet is overwhelmed with a sudden excruciating pain, as the gauntlet actually consumes the hand and takes its place. Some victims find they can't remove the gauntlet, others can, but when they take it off there's nothing but a stump underneath. Replacing the gauntlet over the stump causes it to reattach and function fully as the old hand. Let's pay close attention to the images. You place your hand on the gauntlet again, focusing your mind on the images it gives you. They're quick, just vague impressions of the gauntlet's previous wearers. You see a shadow in the dark, the gauntlet holding a barbed knife in one hand, then pouncing on his victim. A woman puts a gauntlet on her hand and screams. A Vargellan fights against a mob of 7, the gauntlet wielding a wicked mace, just before he dies. Alright, let's do the thing that is totally sensible and not at all dumb. Put the gauntlet on her hand. The moment you slip your fingers into the glove, the gauntlet bites down on your arm. It feels like millions of razors slide up and down your arm, flaying the skin, then the muscle, then the bone. It's so bad you pass out from the pain. When you wake, the gauntlet lies on the ground and your hand has regrown. It seems your regenerative abilities are stronger than the gauntlet's hunger. Even so, you feel some of the gauntlet's power in your newly regrown hand. Okay, 1 speed pull. For 5 health, not bad, not bad. And we can take a look at it again, but none of that changes. That's kind of disappointing, but sure. I mean, I feel justified in what I did. And let's just check some things, because we got 100 XP, right? Which means that Makina gets to tier up. Nice. Assassin automatically kills targets if she's hidden. Or the enemy is blinded and they don't have much health. Now she can pick up other things. So she can get a illusory warrior once per fight. She can do extra damage. She can get a plus 30 crit chance on attacks where the target has a negative fettle. And we can get an area of attack effect attack. So I'm thinking one of these. Let's go with press advantage. I think that's a good choice. And we can give her either endurance or running. Let's give her running. Make her faster. Okay. Anyone else? Calistige. Yeah, good. Callie, you really could do better. Let's give you a bit of the old speed, a bit of the old intellect.
A promising choice.
And that's it. Yep, everything else is fine. Okay, so I know that when the game launched, tier 4 was actually the highest tier you could reach, but I think they changed that with the patch, so we'll find out. And let's leave. Alright, so we're back in the bloom. Anything new here? Given we don't get... Yep. Oh, we trapped here? Fantastic. Well, I don't think the bloom's happy with us. A wriggling mass of tendrils rises from the ground. They remind you of the tongues that surround the moor. Writhing and twisting around each other, they make wet, unpleasant sounds. As you approach, the voices of bloom begin to click and buzz in your ears, making your fingers twitch and setting your teeth on edge. You catch yourself reaching instinctively for the magmatic amulet. So let's first listen carefully to the bloom voices. Unintelligible, let's touch the amulet. You grasp the crystalline artifact. At once, the voices of the bloom grow louder and louder still. They fill your consciousness, drowning out your thoughts, hissing and whispering and chittering and buzzing. They're coming from every direction, above and below, from nearby and far away. Swaying on your feet, you nearly topple to the floor. Makina grabs hold of your arm to prevent you from falling. What's wrong with you? Her eyes are wide and confused. You shake your head, unable to respond, caught up in a torrent of maddening sound. Slowly the bloom voices resolve themselves into their constituent parts, but now they carry sense impressions with them. Hunger, curiosity, desire. Each burst of bloom voices evokes a new impression in your mind. For a moment you let go of the amulet and the sense impressions are gone. The voices are nothing but meaningless babble. Then you touch the amulet again and the sense impressions return. You realize a magmatic amulet is a translator of sorts. The limit of scope of its power is uncertain. Let's listen to distant voices. You focus on the bloom voices that are coming from outside the trading post. What seemed at first like an indistinct babble is actually many different voices, thousands of voices, each arising from somewhere else in the bloom. Some of the voices belong to individual Moors, evoking impressions of hunger and need. Others resonate from deeper places within the bloom. When you concentrate on those voices, you experience flashes of intense emotion, or catch fleeting glimpses of men and women being beaten or killed. Each voice is unique, chittering, groaning, barking, whispering, rattling, hissing, yet all of them are the bloom. And the nearest voices? You hear the cluster of bloom tongues whispering softly to you, exuding a sense of expectation and familiarity. These tongues know your scent, or perhaps that of your sire, and they're eager to touch your mind, but their voices are not the only ones here. A score of other voices gibber and shout from the dark corners of the room. Ordinary human voices that once belonged to the merchants, guards, and bloom guides who were devoured here. Fragments of their mind cling to life like their half-digested corpses, and they cry out in confusion, rage, and pain. Let's try and communicate with the bloom tongues. Relaxing your mind, you allow the whispering of the bloom tongues to penetrate your thoughts. Memories rise into your consciousness. Trivial moments you had forgotten, just as you recognize them, they are swept away. The bloom tongues are sifting through your memories, looking for something. The voices dig deeper into your unconsciousness. What seemed harmless at first becomes irritating. A dull ache blossoms in the back of your mind, spreading across your skull and your spine. The pain comes in waves, as if the bloom is trying to wrench a memory out of your brain. Let's fight back with the tide, I think. You focus on the pain, letting it flow upon the tides and surge away from you. A molten rush of agony that leaves your nerves quivering in its wake. It spills across the bridge that the amulet has created between your mind and the tongues. From all around you, the bloom's voices shriek in hatred and fury. The tongues twist and writhe. The ground shakes. And then the pain is gone. The clustered bloom tongues droop, their movements feeble, and their voices no more than a whisper. In the aftermath of your unusual experience, you find you've maintained your grip upon the magmatic amulet. Your connection to the bloom tongues remains intact. While they're in a weakened state, you may be able to seize control, which we totally will do, because we're awesome. Okay, you reach across a barrier that separates your consciousness from that of the tongues, a barrier now made permeable by the amulet. Tentatively, you begin to direct the motions of the tongues. It's a strange sensation, like having another set of limbs, but they respond to your impulses. Belatedly, the tongues try to resist, but with a bit of concentration, you quiet them like errant thoughts. These tongues, you realize, are a tiny locus of the bloom's consciousness, and their roots extend throughout the trading post. So now your thoughts... so do your thoughts and commands. Let us... release the human minds that are trapped in the trade post. A few moments of concentration reveal that snaking roots and bloom tongues are still connected to their corpses. Hair-like fibers grow through the putrefying flesh, linking to their half-dead brains, keeping their minds alive. You force the bloom tongues to withdraw their fibers from each of the bodies. One by one, the gibbering voices cease, and the tortured minds fade and die. Let's move the trading post back to its original location. You close your eyes and relax your mind, probing the limits of your new senses. The roots of the bloom tongues run through the trade post, but they also extend some distance into the surrounding flesh. A few of them trail upward, tracing a path towards an open cavity in the outer reaches of the bloom. Steeling yourself, you take hold of all the tendrils at once, urging them back along the path, clawing their way towards the surface, and dragging the trade post after them. The ground buckles and churns beneath your feet, and the whole chamber begins to move. At last you open your eyes, and the shaking subsides. The blocked archway is opening. You hear astonished voices outside. Their energy spent, the bloom tongues recede into the ground. Okay, well, that's all nice.
On it.
And that routes around that. Let's leave. I said, let's leave. Alrighty. As you emerge from the trade post, you hear sharp intakes of breath. 2 merchants, a fat human and a sickly-looking Virgilian, are staring at you in amazement. That great jaw and the teeth, they're gone. Was this your doing? If it was, you have our deepest thanks. But we're no better off. Our wagon is still supper for the Bloom thing. Quite right, but it's still damned impressive. I thought the Bloom only answered to the Memavera. Where is she when we need her help, eh? Well, hey, Gristler. You spoke to her, didn't you? The Bloom, I mean, and she listened. No wonder the Memavera wants to get rid of her. It wasn't speech, exactly. Of course not. She don't talk the way we do, but she has ways of making herself heard. Well, that whispery, chittery stuff makes a certain kind of sense if you listen long enough. Maybe you got ways to talk back to her, but I ain't gonna try to pry. All I'm saying is, I'd be careful about using that kind of power if I was you. Folks in charge might mistake you for a threat. Happens a lot around here. Now what can I do you for? I know all about Bloomin' Amours, yeah, but already talked to you about this. Alright, goodbye. Can we actually, like, buy and sell things from you? Nope. Oh, the Bloom is now actually eating the wagon. That's nice. It looks as though the Bloom's begun to devour this wagon. The wheels have been sucked down into the flesh of the platform. Even as you watch, it slowly recedes a little further into the ground. The merchant guards heave and push at it, to no avail. Hey, Eridus, this is your job. Do what you can. Without a word, Eridus throws his shoulders into the back of the wagon and begins to heave it in time with the guards. Surprised at his sudden generosity, they slacken for a moment. Then, as if trying to prove themselves, redouble their efforts. You can feel a great, almost ultrasonic rumble of displeasure as the Bloom's flesh begins to tear. Fibers pop one at a time, and suddenly the wagon is free, and you stagger after it. In the fissure that was devouring the wagon, you see an object, some bit of Numenera, but the Bloom flesh is already closing over it. Nah. Not so fast. Matt Keener, your job. Matt Keener quickly drops to her knees and plunges her arm into the rut. Her fingers close over the device and she pulls it out of the wound before the Bloom flesh knits itself back together. Out of perception. Orb of perception, not out. A perfectly spherical orb, a half a fist in diameter, it looks and feels to be made of dark green transparent glass. Though you cannot see through it, it catches all manner of light in its center. Peering into it gives one the sense of abstract wisdom. Touching the orb to your temple will alter your perception of reality forever. It would take immense power to break or blemish this orb. You're certain this orb has been used many, many times before you possessed it. It seems to be on its final charge now. And as you peer into the orb, you barely notice characters slowly pulsing within the light, writing words in a language you don't know, yet somehow you understand the meaning. Perceiving is everything. That's cool. And we got it out. You have our thanks, stranger. If we'd lost a wagon, we'd lost our pay. You're a damn sight more helpful than the most around here. Why don't you go talk to our employers over there? Maybe they'll have something for you. Right. I want to take a look at this orb. Which is here. Use item.
Just what I needed.
Okay. So that we consumed. And now if I look at my character sheet, perception, specialized plus. I think I may have already had that, but you know. Why not? Permanently increased something is what I had heard. Okay, now. Let's chat with the employers. Ha! Never thought we'd free that wagon! The human merchant grins like a madman and does a little jig, his massive head lobbing back and forth like a pendulum. First good things that happened to us in this godforsaken monster. Here, same as I paid the Memavera for our passage into the Bloom, and you're a lot more deserving than she is. Hear that, you greedy wench! He shouts in the direction of the Memavera's courtyard and spits derisively. Okay, cool. So that's that. That was a nice little diversion. Now, I wonder what else has changed, because evidently things changed as a result of that. So, first, let's go have a look-see at Eoxu's problems. Let's first talk to Inkpot, actually. So they're gonna wait. I thought I'd intimidated them away, but nope, fine. So, Eoxu, I have need of your wares. What do you got, Eoxu? You've got various items, but I don't... Ah, right, yes. I wonder... Maybe I should get rid of my bound artifact. It's boosting perception. I could check, actually. I could also dump some of these other things. Alright, let's check something. If I take off the eyes, what happens to my perception? Still specialized plus plus. Aha! Now the thing is, and this is an important thing, I have no idea if I have any other items that I can use. So I'm just going to quickly check through, because I don't have a way of sorting my inventory, to see if I can find something that is a bonded artifact. Usable artifact. Clockwork Orrery. I should have a look at that then. But it's not, doesn't go in the bonded slot. And so Even Eyes is the only one. You know what? Actually, Calistige, you can have them. Have some new eyes. Or at least eye drops. This is a healing thing. And this gives us movement speed. At the cost of... yeah, no, don't want that. Although, maybe, actually. And this gives us Might Edge. Yeah, no, I'm actually going to put that on us. We might as well have a little bit of edge. Wait, I already had a Might Edge? Where am I getting that from? Really, what am I getting that from? This? This? Interesting. Oh well, whatever. Let's take a look at... no, not the Magcaster. There's something else I could use. But I don't remember what it was. That's annoying. Although actually, let's just check other things. Nope. Oh, what do you do? Right, no, that's, again, not something I can actually use. There was one of these things I could use. If only there was a way to actually look through these. Oh, that's another one that would have been kind of useful, but not really. I don't want to lose edge. Edge is more useful than points. Oh well. I'm not gonna keep going through this right now. I'll need to keep that in mind. That there's something I can look at and use.
I have seen you die in countless realities. Should we add another one to that list?
Okay, next. Let's have a look at the Shrine to Sheila.
As you wish.
Hey,
Consider it done.
get in here. Not that hard. Alrighty, Spec. Let's have a chat. Anything new? More questions about the shrine? Is it an again? Yeah, those are all again. More questions about you. Tell me again how you lost your arm. We don't get more things. Okay. And this? Anything new here? Look more closely at the device left by the... Yes, it's a Marecaster. Hey! Only one end of the device protrudes underneath other offerings, but sharp heads is a... yeah, Marecaster. Let's try and pinch it. Hey, Makina. Again, your job. Steal. Good job. You wait until the Spec's attention is briefly shifts away, and then Makina seizes the device in the slab, careful not to knock any other offerings to the ground. The speck turns back towards you, eyes glittering, and you think you hear a faint hissing growling noise beneath the whispers of the bloom. Even though she says nothing, you suspect she and the bloom know what Makina did. Cylindrical in shape, wrought from azure steel, with curved, sharpening projections on all sides, making it difficult to hold. It feels familiar to you, though, like a family heirloom you've only heard about in stories, but always pictured in your mind. Somehow you know it's a Marecaster. Sweet, good job, Makina. And I guess next time round we will continue. We'll check the other outlying areas for any changes, and then we'll go to Dracogen. Till next time, bye!